In this video, I'm going to tell you the one thing that made becoming a polyglot and getting fluent in a number of languages quite effortless for me. And it's because of a quirk of my childhood. Okay, that's probably not what you're thinking. I'm going to share what happened to me and how you can apply it in your life and make your own language journey easy and effortless. And fluency will become inevitable. So the quirk of my childhood was a story that my dad, an anecdote really, that my dad told me over and over again, as parents do sometimes when there's something they're proud about. And he basically, when he was 22 or something, when he was in his early 20s, he went off to the Merchant Navy. He was a newly qualified engineer and he got a job on a ship. And all of the crew were native Hindi speakers. They were Indian. And so my dad spent 3 years on a ship with native Hindi speakers. And at the end of those 3 years, he was completely fluent in Hindi. And my dad told me this multiple times when I was a kid. And so I just knew. I knew on a deep level that that's how we learn languages. You know, my dad told me, he was my biggest role model. I was a real daddy's girl. And my mum also learnt languages. So dad also spoke Spanish. I'm not sure how fluent he was, but you don't ever question your parents, do you? How fluent actually are you? He learnt at school and then travelled in Spain in the 60s. My mum, she was unusual in that she went to France and Switzerland on school exchanges when she was a young teenager. And so she soaked up French and German in addition to learning them at school. And so she always did really well at those, and she became a French teacher, a qualified French teacher, although she never taught it. Oh, that sounds a bit familiar to me too, because I'm a qualified Spanish and English teacher, but I don't teach those either. Following in the footsteps, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it? So why am I telling you this when you can't change your childhood, right? That was such a huge advantage, I can see it now, to just realising, understanding, knowing that that's how we learn languages, okay? We just soak them up. Nothing complicated about it. Okay, but that is something that school doesn't teach us. In fact, school teaches us the exact opposite, if you think about it. It makes you sit in a chair, you're not soaking it up and living the language, you're like dissecting it and roboting it. Was that a good robot expression? So schools just make it ridiculously boring and very far removed from real life. And language learning is not like that at all. Language learning is something that's fun. We live the language, we soak it up, we can't do it at first at all. You know, we're just learning a few words in a book, or, you know, from how do you say this, how do you say that? And then we piece it together. But if we're curious and engaged with the learning, with the content that we're learning from, which is how we can do it now, or in the olden days, you needed to go to the country and just be immersed in it. So it was the heart connection, the communication with another person and the people that were around you. That engagement is key to becoming fluent. So, but I've seen so many people in my life so I'm a translator. I'm Louisa, I'm a translator. I moved to Madrid in my late 20s, speaking 5 languages fluently. I've lived in Madrid since then, so 24 years, something like that. And I've really only focused on Spanish and English. Don't lose your English, because it does get a bit Tarzan, me Tarzan, you Jane every now and again. That's been my focus the last couple of years. The last 20 years, since I became a mum, last 18 years. don't lose your English and focus on perfecting your Spanish. Ridiculous goals, both of them. I'll never be perfect. We don't speak perfectly. Like, I can't even speak English when I've got a camera in front of me. So, and that's my native tongue, in case you're wondering. So, you know, trying to get perfect in a foreign language is a ridiculous goal. So please don't do that. Scrub that one off your list. But there are 3 things that you can do to develop this deep knowingness that we learn languages like a sponge. We learn them like a baby, and you are capable too. Okay. And the first thing to do is look at the words that you're speaking to yourself in your head about your language learning. Because I've noticed so many people that do live in the country and they are immersed in the language, sort of, in different varying degrees, of course, but they don't always get fluent. And I know, I can see what's going wrong. It's because I'm an empath, okay? I'm highly sensitive and I can really feel other people's emotions, almost as if they're my own sometimes. And so I see these people and they're just so tense and they're being hard on themselves, and they're telling themselves, this is so hard, I'm rubbish at this, my accent's awful, you know, I'm not practicing, I should be going to classes and I'm not writing down my vocab, you know, all this negativity in their heads is way louder than the joy of soaking up the language, okay? And if they could change that, change the joy, change the things they're telling themselves and move towards joy, and make sure that the voice of loving kindness in their head is louder than the voice of fear, then they'll wing it. You know, they'll I've seen this a number of times in my own passion project stroke business that I'm starting and have been aiming to start for a while now. I've been giving people language coaching and hypnotherapy and helping them change those inner words that they say to themselves and really believe in themselves and in their ability to soak up the language. Okay, so that's the first. Oh, actually, that's the third thing. Okay. So other things that we can do are affirmations. If you notice what are your main affirmations or the main statements that you're telling yourself that are causing you to not believe in your ability to soak up a language effortlessly and in a fun way, notice those and change them. Okay, so change them to the positives. If you can't change them completely to the opposite because it just feels like too much of a stretch, then find a halfway house. So for example, for me, I wouldn't say, you know, in my head at the moment, I'm not loving my I am loving my Japanese practice, but I'm not doing it enough. So there's my story. I'm not putting enough effort in to get my Japanese back to the level it used to be. I'm not trying hard enough. I'm not putting the effort in. I'm not putting the time in. So how can I change that? Well, actually, I have been changing it because I found some really fun and interesting ways to soak up Japanese again. And online, of course, because I've got it all in our little handheld devices these days. And so I'm changing that story a little by little, but I've not been affirming it. I am finding, this is what I would say to myself, this is what I need to say to myself to make this stronger in my head. I am finding new ways of soaking up Japanese effortlessly, and my language is coming back to me. Okay, so everyone's situation is different, so you need to find the affirmations that are helpful to you in thinking, in helping you tell yourself a new story. This is easy, this is effortless, this is, or at least you're open to it being easy, or you're open to new fun ways of learning. Okay, I think that's the thing. Visualizations are super powerful when it comes to changing your confidence or creating a goal in life, right? So especially if you love kind of meditations and inner world stuff, positive psychology, spirituality. I love all of that. So I've got some of these on my website. So I've got a number of these type of inner world meditations and visualizations on my YouTube channel and in my podcast. If you're learning English or Spanish, so if you're a native Spanish speaker and you're learning English, you can soak it up that way. And if you're a native English speaker and you're learning Spanish, you can soak it up that way. That's how I designed it, because it's based on the way that I got fluent in Japanese really quickly, in spoken Japanese, I should say. I'll leave a link up there to the video where I talk about that. Visualizations, meditations, inner world stuff are really powerful, because not only if you do it as a daily thing, a daily practice, well, you can even repeat the same meditations over and over again. And that's the way you can internalize them. Even if at the beginning you don't understand them, you start to get more and more vocab just by repeating the same meditations. So I really recommend that. And I've got some on my website that you can check out. And I talked a little bit when I was talking about the affirmations, I talked a little bit about the hypnosis and coaching that I've been doing for a while now, helping friends, people that win competitions on my website. I'm burping a lot. Okay, I've coached a number of people and given hypnotherapy as well in the last few years. And I've really seen people make a massive difference to their language learning by changing that belief, thinking that it all had to be hard and sitting down in a classroom and studying and writing and reading and, devouring textbooks. Uh-oh.
Hello.
Hello, YouTube. Bye. I don't think it came out very well anyway.